I drove 7 hours from base to attend my sister's wedding. The moment I arrived, my parents stopped me at the entrance. Family members only, they said. You can watch on the live stream. I nodded, said got it, and turned around without a fight. A few days later, my mom called in a panic. Why isn't my card working? You need to pay the $23,000 wedding bill. I couldn't help laughing. Then I told her the truth. 3 weeks before the wedding, a vendor confirmation email landed in my inbox at 6:14 in the morning. I was on base, half-dressed, coffee still brewing. Subject line, payment agreement confirmation, final balance. I assumed spam. Then I saw my name, my full legal name, my military email address, and a dollar amount, $23,000. For a venue I had never visited. For a wedding I was not on the guest list for. I sat down and read it 3 times. Each time it said the same thing. I called the venue that same morning. A woman in the events office pulled my file and read back everything on record. My name, my military email, a scanned copy of my driver's license, and an electronic signature on a financial guarantor agreement. I told her I had never authorized any of it. She went careful and quiet in a way that told me she believed me. She emailed the documents. They arrived in under 10 minutes. I opened the signature page and looked at it for a long time. Whoever did it had studied my name carefully enough to get the shape right. But I have a habit since high school. I always loop my R without lifting the pen. Leaves a small hook at the base. The signature on that document did not have the hook. They got the outline but missed the habit. What bothered me most was that they had clearly tried. This was not a guess. Someone had practiced. That was the moment I stopped being confused and started being methodical. I forwarded everything to my personal email, printed copies at the office, and called a JAG attorney that same afternoon. She read through the paperwork without interrupting me. When she finished, she tapped the signature line. This is not your signature. No. And you did not authorize anyone to sign on your behalf. No. Then treat this as identity misuse and possible forgery. Lock your credit today. Dispute every charge in writing. Document everything. Do not settle anything by phone. I did all of it that week. Then I waited. Some people would have called the family immediately. I thought about it. But I'd spent 20 years in the Army learning that the most effective response to a threat is rarely the loudest one. You gather first, then you move. I called the florist, the caterer, and the photographer. All of them had my name on file. All of them had been told the same thing by my sister, that I was military, financially stable, and would cover the remaining balance. The caterer had an email chain where my sister wrote, almost casually, that I was the backup, like a spare key under a doormat. The photographer sent me a signed addendum with the same forged signature. Same missing hook on the R. By the end of the week, I had a folder on my kitchen table. Printed emails, contracts, timestamps, notes from every call. The kind of file that makes things very uncomfortable for people who assume nothing would ever be written down. Then I drove the 7 hours anyway. Not to celebrate, not to confront anyone at the altar, just to confirm they would actually go through with it. To stand there and see for myself that they would look me in the face and say family members only while $23,000 of fraudulent paperwork sat in a venue file under my name. They did. My mother folded her arms. My father looked past me. My sister, visible through the entrance glass in her wedding dress, looked directly at me for exactly 1 second. Then she turned away. For a moment, I had almost talked myself into believing there was some explanation I had missed. That second took care of that. I nodded, said got it, and walked back to my car. While I sat in that parking lot watching the live stream invitation come through on my phone, my attorney was already on the other line. By the time I pulled out, the fraud report was filed. By the time I crossed the state line, every vendor had received formal written notice that I was disputing all charges and had not authorized any agreement under my name. 3 days later, my mother called about her card. I let her finish. Then I told her the venue had already flagged the account. Signature mismatch. The recovery email on the guarantor agreement traced directly to my sister's personal Gmail. The same account attached to a file containing a scan of my driver's license, which I had emailed my mother 2 years earlier when she said she needed it for medical paperwork. The line went quiet. Then I read her the fraud case number. She said, "How could you do this to your own family?" I said, "I didn't. You used my name. I just made sure someone official knew about it." Full story on the channel linked below.